Today is Wednesday, Parashat Vaetchanan. It's also the eve of Tisha B'Av. Tonight, 7:58, in our neighborhood, the fast will begin and will last until tomorrow night, around 8:41. The fast is to, of course, out of sadness over the destruction of the first and the second temple. Also, it's to bring us to do teshuvah, to repent, and to correct the ways that brought about the destruction of the temple. And the second temple was destroyed because of sinat chinam, hatred in vain. This is a story that is brought in the Gemara that illustrates the grave sin of embarrassing another person. And embarrassing another person can come from hatred and kind of quarreling and conflict that can bring about the destruction, as it did, of the second temple. Story is brought about a wealthy man who invited many people, had a big party, and he sent one of his messengers to invite a person by the name of Kamtza. And the messenger made a mistake. Instead of inviting Kamtza, he invited a person by the name of Bar Kamtza, which means the son of Kamtza. Now what happens is this person who was Bar Kamtza, he's a person that had some kind of quarrel with the person who was putting on the party. But since he was invited, the messenger came and invited Bar Kamtza. Bar Kamtza came to the event, came to that big party. And when the host sees Bar Kamtza, he tells him, "What are you doing here? You're not a friend of mine. What are you doing in my home, in my party?" And embarrassing him in public, telling him to get out of the place. And the person, this Bar Kamtza, says, "You know what? I'll pay for whatever food, whatever I'm using in your home. I'll take care of that expense." And the host says, "No, get out of here." Then Bar Kamtza responds, "I'll pay for half of the expenses of your party." And the host says, "No, get out of here." Then the person, Bar Kamtza, says, "I'll pay for all the expenses of your party." And the host forcefully takes Bar Kamtza and throws him out of his home. The embarrassment was very grave there, to be embarrassed in public and kicked out of a party, even though he was willing to pay for the whole thing. Well, Bar Kamtza, having his emotions hurt and embarrassed in a big way, says, "How come all those people that were there, there were also some leaders of the community, there were some rabbis who were present. Why did they not stop the host from doing this very, very bad, hurtful thing? Maybe they were in agreement with it. But actually, it's possible that the host was such a powerful person financially and otherwise that maybe they didn't want to oppose whatever he was doing." Well, Bar Kamtza decided to cause some trouble. He went to the Caesar, the Roman emperor, and told him, "The Jewish people have rebelled against you." He wanted to cause them to take revenge, basically. And he said, "How do I know?" The emperor says, "How do I know that they rebelled?" Bar Kamtza tells him, "Just send them an offering as a sacrifice in Bet HaMikdash," which we are allowed to take sacrifices from non-Jews and bring them to Bet HaMikdash. And you'll see if they'll offer it or not. He sent them together with Bar Kamtza, one of those a sacrifice, with Bar Kamtza on the way to Jerusalem, put a blemish on that animal, a type of blemish that for the goyim, for the non-Jews, is not considered to be a blemish. But for us, it's considered to be a blemish, and then disqualify that animal by being offered as a sacrifice. And the story goes that when he brought it, they didn't want to bring the sacrifice up, and it started a chain of events that brought the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. Right? The Romans laying siege to Jerusalem because of that, because that was an affront, but it all started with the embarrassment of a person in public. So grave it is that as we commemorate the destruction of the temple, and really we are to learn from the lessons, not to repeat the mistakes, how careful we have to be, not to embarrass anyone in public, not to be so hurtful as to cause him such emotional aggravation that created the succession of events that brought the destruction of the temple. But on the opposite, we should do more what in Hebrew is called Vaetchanan, to yield, to give up. Even if we didn't invite that person, he's already there, let it be. And in life we could be faced with situations amongst ourselves where something is coming to us, whether financially or otherwise, where we are in the right. But if we yield and if we give up even what's coming to us, and we are forgiving to others, He will create the kind of atmosphere that will give us the merit to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu Imera B'Yameinu. Amen. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.